Money Radio, thanks for joining us. Time to talk about estate planning with Jim Knollmiller from Knollmiller and Aronofsky, the website aboutestateplanning.com, because that's much easier to remember than Knollmiller and Aronofsky. Hi, Jim. How are you?
Hi. Thank you, Sinclair.
Good to talk to you. You're a certified tax specialist and also an attorney specializing in estate planning.
That's correct.
Great combination, because so many of the issues that come up in estate planning are tax-related.
Yes, Sinclair, tax-related things. The estate tax is becoming less of an issue for most people with a exemption that exceeds $5 million. Very few people have $5 million in total assets, and a couple with $10 million can have an estate without any estate taxes, but the income taxes are becoming a much more important issue.
What do we need to know about income taxes, and are there some things we can do with regard to estate planning to minimize the income tax burden?
Well, some of the planning, many clients have large retirement accounts, and most of your retirement accounts are subject to income tax when you withdraw the money. Well, one of the things you want to be sure of is that if you have a large retirement account, that your beneficiaries don't withdraw this in 1 year, because that will push them into the highest brackets, and surcharges with the total tax bill can easily approach 50% of the proceeds, whereas you can stretch that payment out over their life expectancy and reduce the income tax burden, also increase the total overall yield of the family by several fold.
In addition to tax issues, there are some other important points that I think a lot of people don't think about when they think about estate planning, and one is when someone is still alive. A lot of the estate planning issues come into play in the event of a disability. It's really almost like going through the probate process while someone is still alive, and that can play havoc on a family business or something like that.
Well, that's true, because if you don't have something put in place, then if you become incapacitated and can't handle your affairs, the only thing that can be done is somebody has to go to court, and they get what we call conservator, which is a person who is to manage your assets. You also get a guardian, and that's the person who manages you as an individual. And then on top of this, the guardian will have to have an attorney, the conservator will have to have an attorney, and you will probably have an attorney going into court. And before you know it, you have spent thousands of dollars per hour in fees.
So the idea is to create a plan of succession. Who can make decisions for the business and keep the business afloat so that it's not just liquidated in the event of a disability, but actually remains a valuable asset.
Yes, Sinclair, you need to have something in place so that if something happens to you as the owner of the business, there is someone who will be able to take over and manage that business, keep it going efficiently, and legally be able to take care of the business and run it.
Oftentimes for family businesses, you've got a lot of creditors to deal with, and in the event of disability or death, not just creditors, but predators as well. I think some folks just kind of come out of the woodwork, and they might even be in your own family.
Well, that is true. There's nothing that says that a family will run smoothly after you're gone or if you become incapacitated. There's often arguments as to which family member should be running the business or which family member should be managing things. If you put in place the person that you want to take care of things, that's going to be a lot better than to let it become a fight among 3 or 4 family members.
We think about estate planning, but it's not just estate planning. It's business planning, it's tax planning, it's disability planning, it's liquidity planning. It's a whole lot more than just estate planning and maybe avoiding probate, although that's very important.
Well, yes, avoiding probate is very important, but also to have things being managed so that your business will be operated the way you want it and in an efficient manner and provide the benefits for your family that you want to. And when you pass away, that there'll be something for them rather than the business having to be liquidated at we call fire sale price, which you well know will probably bring pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, that's true. We've probably all seen a sign somewhere about an estate sale where they're selling off some furniture or something like that. The same thing happens or could happen with a business as well. You don't see it advertised as frequently, but it certainly does happen where a business just gets liquidated for bare bones minimum, and that's that. And that's a shame after someone's worked probably a lifetime to build up that business, not just for themselves, but also for their families or their beneficiaries.
Well, yes, and we've seen it where, for all practical purposes, the business disappears upon the death of the owner simply because there was nothing in place to keep the business going, and the clients or customers of that business went elsewhere very quickly to somewhere else, and there was nothing left.
Estate planning. I guess the question that everybody has to ask is, what does it mean to you? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to safeguard? And do you have a plan? And are you keeping it up to date? Because this is really something you have to get right. It really and truly is. Jim Knollmiller is a certified tax specialist under the State Bar of Arizona and also offers advanced estate planning services for pretty much everyone's needs, from very large estates to modest estates. And again, you've got to keep it up to date. If you'd like to talk about your estate plan, 480-345-0444. 480-345-0444. That's the phone number at Knollmiller and Aronofsky. An easy way to find that contact info is just go to the website aboutestateplanning.com. Aboutestateplanning.com. It'll put you through to Jim Knollmiller, 480-345-0444. Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sinclair.